This is quite an eloquent study, especially in regard to its design. It's a randomized crossover trial in regard to the consumption of food. Now, what kind of makes this is the Occam's razor of basically calorie reduction is that generally they had the participants eat freely. And the ones that ate the food that tasted the same as the other meals, part of the randomized control crossover trial, had just basically was just hot paprika by itself, as opposed to a combination of a ratio of hot paprika, hot Hungarian paprika, to sweet paprika. And it was just a natural occurrence where participants chewed slower and ate less without trying to exert any self-control or drinking more water to compensate as part of a confounder. So without making it too difficult or too technical, let's get right into the study itself. Looking to cut calories, try adding chilies, studies suggest. First chart, just to give you basically a taste of what's about to come. All right, you can see the study design, as well as you can see the meals. You can see the beef chili, as well as the chicken tikka, and you can look at the ratios as well and the type of pepper, and the experiments that they conducted. Now, to move further into the research, let's read ahead. The researcher found that increasing spiciness slightly using dried chili pepper slowed down eating and reduced the amount of food and energy consumed at a meal, all without negatively affecting the palatability to the dish. Really good, basically alludes to in the study on how much the researchers had to keep on taste testing this food until they got it down right. Until they ate so much, well, you get the picture. This points to added chili as a potential strategy for reducing the risk of energy overconsumption, meaning eating too much. While portion control was not the explicit goal of the study, quoting, our results suggest this might work. Next time you're looking to eat a little less, try adding a blast of chilies as it may slow down and help you eat less. The team conducted 3 related experiments in a total of 130 adults who served one of 2 lunch meals: beef chili or chicken tikka masala. In one of the 2 versions, mild to spicy, the spiciness level was controlled by carefully varying the ratio of hot versus sweet paprika, added to the dishes to vary the heat while keeping the chili flavor constant. All right, now let's look at the outcomes per se. There is the results. People ate less. Now keep in mind, this is not like a trial over time. This is basically you're sitting down, you're eating a meal, and this is your outcome. Instantaneous. Occam's razor. Occam's razor. All right. Also, they chewed slower. So you can see the results there. Now look below. That's going to equate to about 55 grams. I know we're not taking into account calorie density, but you get the idea as well. 55 grams less per meal, at least according to the outcome of this particular study. That is quite remarkable by just adding a spice. And yes, we did do a research article on paprika just before in regard to energy and focus due to the xanthophyll content of paprika itself. Now, to proceed forward. Yep, the other one's that one. All right, back to our results. The study suggests that reduction in intake is driven by changes in oral processing behaviors. Researchers said, specifically participants ate the spicier meals more slowly. I like to speak slower too, but we've got to condense it all down to a short period of time. She explained that a slower eating rate often means food is in the mouth longer, which can help signal fullness and lead to eating less. Other studies showed that slow eating rate by manipulating texture, which is different as well as the outcome, have shown similar effects. What's critical here is the reduction in intake occurred without negatively impacting how much participants like the food. And when controlling for confounding, I like this part as well. They added that the water intake didn't differ significantly between spicy and mild meals, suggesting that one seemingly obvious explanation that people drank more water and filled up faster was not the primary reason why people ate less. All right, let's look at C4. This is kind of your takeaways here. The liking of the food did not change between the plates, and again, they randomly moved the plates around to see what plates are around. The meals around each time participants went to go eat, so neither one knew which one was which. And it goes also to as far as the pace and the takeaway. Too little spice may not be enough. So again, looking at the outcome comparison to the meal that was prepared. So it may be different between different meals is what they're trying to say. And the limitations of the future, of course, they have to expand the study outward to a more real-world setting. But that's a pretty good takeaway. Effortless calorie reduction is the outcome that they noticed. Now to the conclusion. All right. Across multiple experiments, quoting, we found that increasing the oral burn of a lunch meal by adding a capsaicin in the form of hot paprika leads to a reduction in food and energy intake. Quoting, we also found evidence that this reduction in intake was at least partially driven by changes in oral processing behaviors, including a slowing of eating rate and bite rate. I want to say bit rate, but that's computers. The study extends recent work from other colleagues who reported that manipulation of oral burn can lead to modifications to oral processing by demonstrating these changes in oral processing in turn influence intake. Dried chili powder, in this case Hungarian hot paprika, is a commonly used culinary ingredient, and spiciness as food property continues to increase in popularity and consumer demand. The current study provides evidence that due to this influence of oral processing and consumption behavior, the common ingredient can be beneficial for weight management and reduce risk of energy overconsumption. Again, super, super simple. Occam's razor of basically eating less calories without basically causing any other unintentional risks through medications and so forth. But now let's look at the experimental design as well. All right. There you are. The science behind the design, a randomized crossover trial, and a participant's journey as well. If you want to stop and look at that for a second. Also, too, this is the raw data. If you want to basically break down the math on your own, you're more than welcome to. But yet, just the same, what a beautiful, simple way of literally adding something to your diet so you leave more on your plate without affecting the way you like the meal. You can't get much simpler than that. Beautiful, beautiful outcome. Well done, at least as well as you can make a study like this in this randomized crossover design. You have to give gratitude to the researchers. Wonderful, wonderful job. And as always, I am humbled you watch. I look forward to see what you and I share next week. Again, 2 studies in a row on paprika, one energy and focus, the other one eating less. Again, it's the golden age of paprika, it seems like, but just the same. Next week, we'll try something different. All right, catch y'all next time. See you then. Bye.